Hey guys, what's up, Predictions here, and welcome back to this brand new video. Now today it is time for another vlog, and well, I'm going to take you testing at Berghem for 2 days this weekend, because if you didn't know, next week already is the first race of this Dutch Rotax Max Challenge season. So yeah, we've got some work to do. So guys, if you remember the last time we were here for testing, I really had a lot of painful rips, and I could only manage a few laps. Well, not a few, but not as much as I would like to. And well, that's why I'm going testing 2 days today to see if yeah, maybe we can recover some of the lost time that we lost, of course, last time. Now I'm going to unload everything, and I actually have to mount the engine because I was a little bit lazy yesterday and I didn't do it yesterday. That's why I have come here a little bit earlier than normal, so that I have more than enough time to mount the engine. So I'll see you guys when that's done. Alright guys, after a little bit of work, everything is now set up again. Yeah, pretty much ready to go. Today is going to be quite interesting because if you guys haven't noticed yet, well, it's quite warm actually, and I haven't really driven this thing yet at temperatures above 10 degrees Celsius, so that's going to be very interesting. What's also going to be interesting is that we have actually been running the wrong setup all this time. So last time we were here, a mechanic of another driver came to me and he looked at my car and he said, "Mate, why are you running a wet setup?" So I was like, "No, I'm not running a wet setup." And then he was like, "Well, you are, because well, you've got quite a lot of caster on here." Wait, let the camera focus. Yeah, there you go. He looked at this, and well, this showed that we were actually running maximum caster, so that's full grip at the front. Also, we were running about 3 millimeters of toe out, which is it's quite extreme for karts. Now the reason we have been running that is because, well, I didn't change it, of course, and the reason I didn't change it is, well, with OTK you really don't want to change that much on the setup. And well, because I was quite unexperienced with OTK, I didn't know that we had a wet setup on there when we actually bought the kart. And everyone was telling me, yeah, don't do too much setup. So yeah, we've been running a wet setup in the dry for all this time. I already found it a bit weird that this thing had so much grip at the front end, but well, I just didn't think anything of it. Now is the first time we're actually going to try a proper setup. So thumbs up for unintentional sandbagging. Going out onto the track now, you can see that it was both very busy and very grippy. It has been a few weeks since I last went testing, so I really wasn't expecting much for the first session. We were running my bad engine, absolutely ruined tires, and I wasn't sure if my rips were going to hold. Anyways, after a couple of laps I decided to wait for some other seniors from the Dutch Championship. Like I said, we were running our bad tires and bad engine. That combined with me not being at my best made me a pretty easy target, and I was a couple of tenths off. Also, by the way the karts are shaking, you can really tell how grippy it is. Karts always tend to be very bouncy when grip levels are high. In the end, however, I managed to do a 45.0, which is a really quick time for a normal testing day, and it was only a couple of tenths off of the fastest senior on track. Alright guys, quite a way to start the day, isn't it? Yeah, the track is extremely grippy. My best time was a 45.0, and well, that's usually qualifying times when the track's like rub it in and stuff. So yeah, really interesting day ahead. I did immediately notice that we were on the wrong set of rims. We were on the standard rims, which are called MXJ. Well, they give a lot of grip and well, a little bit too much for what we are doing now. So I'm going to switch to MXC, which is well, a bit of a special type of magnesium, and that one, well, that set helps to make the car a little bit more stable, because as you can see I was quite jittery and well, a little bit bouncy as well. So we're now going to put that on, and well, let's see if that makes any difference for the next session. So the second session of the day was pretty average as well. Like I said, we decided to change to the MXC rims, which should give a little less grip and should be a lot more consistent, which is what you want in these conditions. But as you can see, I was still all over the place. Sliding, bouncing, and overall just not being smooth. Also, I was actually slower than the previous session, which was alarming because everyone else went quicker. That, plus some traffic, made my life pretty difficult, and I really was not feeling confident after this. Right guys, so, well, yeah, that was a bit shitty. Sadly anyway, yeah, our run got cut short there by some electrical issues. The ignition switch wasn't working, and that was due to a little bit of a faulty wire. Luckily someone helped me and we are now back running.
That did mean I only had like, well, 8 or 9 laps in this session. But yeah, the tires that were on there were pretty much dead. So now we're going to switch to a little bit of a newer set, and well, hopefully we can improve a little bit because of that.
Even though it doesn't look that way, the kart was definitely a little bit better on newer tires. In terms of pace we were still a little bit off, but that was okay since we now had a good pace to work with.
Okay guys, so the next session is now done. Yeah, the new tires definitely helped a little bit. Well, I say newer tires. I do think the setup at the rear is a little bit too stiff because it's quite, jolty, as you can see on the GoPro footage. Yeah, I think we have to loosen up the rear bumper and maybe increase the track width at the back a little bit. But all in all, definitely a step in the right direction. We're also going to switch to the quicker engine now because I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, I was losing quite a bit of time on the straight. So I'll see you on the next GoPro footage.
Okay, so in this session I was really feeling confident. The kart felt amazing through the corners and it was nice to actually have the full 32 horsepower that the Rotax engine should have. The slower engine actually made the rear end unstable on corner exits because it didn't quite have the power to fight this immense grip of the rear tires. So with that sliding gone, I actually set my fastest time of the entire weekend. Let's ride on board for a lap in this session.
Alright guys, so next session done. Yeah, pretty good actually. I feel like I'm there right now again with the speed. Switch to the quicker engine, of course. I was expecting to go a little bit quicker, but I definitely did not expect to go half a second quicker, so that was really good. We're now right up there again with the quickest driver, so that's good. We're able to do a 44.6 now, so that's pretty quick. Those are almost qualifying times. The track is ridiculously quick. And also guys, good news. Yeah, the bigger seat made all of the difference. I no longer have painful ribs, so that's good. I feel a little bit more confident going into next week now, because I really was not feeling confident going into the next race weekend, but yeah, definitely restored now. Yeah guys, for some reason the car just feels a little bit better with the quicker engine. And well, that is because the other engine didn't quite have to drive to get out of the corners, which also made the rear end like slide a little bit, but now completely gone. It feels natural. And yeah, by the way, I forgot to turn on the GoPro for the first part of the heat, so that yeah, it sadly didn't record the quickest laps. The footage you saw was after I came in for some tire pressures, but then the track actually became a little bit slower, so you could see that I was a little bit all over the place. The back end was sliding all over the place actually. But yeah, good, definitely feels good to be up there again in terms of speed. It's definitely looking good for next week. Let's go into the next session now. I don't know if the GoPro will have enough battery to last for the whole day, but if not, I'll see you in, well, I'll catch up with you guys at the end of the day.
This session was actually pretty similar to the last one. The car was feeling good again and I think I was about 1 or 2 tenths slower than the fastest senior. I do however have the suspicion that they were actually running their race engines, but I of course cannot confirm that. Maybe it was just me making a little bit more mistakes than the last time, or maybe running the wrong gearing, we'll never know. There was however one scary moment caused by the excessive amount of grip. Yes guys, I literally went on 2 wheels there because of the grip. This is actually not uncommon, but I have personally never had it happen to me. That's what happens when you push for the limits.
Alright guys, so that was the last session of the day for me. Yeah, the day ended on a pretty good note. I was able to keep up with the other seniors just fine. One thing that did however happen was that I had a little run-in with a slower driver. I was overtaking him and then he just turned in and hit my rim. There's a little bit of damage. As you can see that there's a pretty big mark on there now. Yeah, it's a shame that happened really. It was so unnecessary. But for some reason he probably didn't expect me there. He just turned into my rear wheel. So another thing I've just noticed is that my GoPro mount actually broke. I don't know if you can see it. There's a pretty big piece of plastic missing right here below my finger. So yeah, tomorrow it's only going to be a helmet cam and I don't think you guys will mind that. But that does mean I have to buy a new clamp because we actually cannot use a helmet cam during the races. I don't know why, but everything is breaking today. Well, I think it's better that everything breaks today than next week. So let's hope nothing breaks anymore now. But yeah, all in all, pretty good day. I'm satisfied. I definitely have a lot more confidence going into next weekend now. So yeah, I'll see you guys when I'm finished taking this thing apart. Alright guys, so the day's now finished. Now it's time to head home, clean up the cart a little bit, charge all of the batteries that I used today. And my girlfriend's actually coming over tonight and she'll be joining us to the track tomorrow, so that's of course very nice. So a little sit rep of the day. It actually started out yeah, pretty terribly. We were off the pace by almost half a second, which is quite a lot. That can literally be the difference between like top 10 or last. Regarding how close the field is lately. But then when we switched to the quicker engine, we were right up there again. Well, it wasn't actually a lot quicker than the other guys because yeah, these were actually rocking some pretty serious engines as well. Even with my quick engine, when I was in the slipstream, they were still pulling away from me. But yeah guys, it's time to head home for me now and I'll see you guys tomorrow. There's actually some rain forecast for tomorrow, so that's going to be very interesting. But see you tomorrow. Peace. Alright guys, so welcome to day 2. Like I said yesterday, there's some rain scheduled for today, but yeah, it's not falling yet and it's forecast to be falling in about 1 or 2 hours, so that's going to be very annoying with setting up the kart. Well, anyway, it's also a lot colder today, so well, maybe we won't have as much grip as yesterday, so we won't go into wheels again. There is however a lot of rubber out on track. I'll show you. Look guys, as you can see here, all the black stuff, well, the extra black stuff, that's all extra grip that we have on track. And if you even look at my shoes, wait, camera go down. My shoes are actually sticking to the asphalt. It's really that grippy. So yeah, that's fun when it's dry, but when it's wet, this becomes extra slippery because rubber and water don't really mix that well. Anyway, it's about time that we go set up the kart and I'll see you when that's done. Okay guys, so well, I've just completely set up the kart for the wet engine, wet tires, wet everything. But yeah, I still have about 20 minutes until I can go out on track and it's not really raining that hard. So yeah, it's going to be close. Maybe I cannot even drive the first session because I've set it up for rain completely. But yeah, we'll see. You'll see it on the GoPro footage. If you see wet GoPro footage, that means that I can drive. If you don't see that, then I can't. So I'll see you then. So I sadly missed the first session because it didn't rain and I had to completely switch back to the dry setup again. So that meant caster, wheel hubs, tires, engine and so on. And that takes about 45 minutes when you're alone. Anyways, this is the first session I did do that day. Nothing much really happened, so we'll just quickly move on. Alright guys, so yeah, that was pretty decent. Tires were pretty dead however, so I had a little bit of, I was struggling a little bit with the rear grip. But yeah, even though I wasn't dead tires, the car was still rock solid. The handling is just amazing of this thing, even in these more difficult conditions. But yeah, now it is actually going to rain properly, so I have to put it all back to wet weather spec probably. So see you then. Yes guys, after I had completely switched to the dry setup, I then had to change everything back again. I didn't do everything though, I basically only changed back to the slower engine with the wet gearing and put on the wide front wheel hubs. And the wet tires of course. I didn't change anything else, like the tow out or the caster. Because my friend Tom there actually always drove like that in the wet. And he recommended me that I would try that out too. And as you guys know, the stock setup on the OTK is just really good. Like I said in the beginning of the day, if it were to rain, it would be very interesting because of the amount of rubber. It was very important to touch the rubber for as little as possible. You can actually see where it's slippery. The rubber makes this like shiny layer on the asphalt and you really do not want to touch that. You kinda had to drive triangular lines. Here you could actually see me slightly messing up and having no grip at all. So a little bit later on in the session I had found the correct lines and the pace was pretty decent. There was actually so much rubber on the track that we were slower than when it's just all out rain and no rubber. There were some people braving it out on slicks, but in my opinion that was just suicidal. I'll now show you some of the highlights of this session.
I'm going to do what's called a pro gamer move.
Alright guys, so you could probably tell on the GoPro footage there that it was, well, it was wet conditions, it was only a little bit of rain. So actually when I was out on track, well, it was not actually raining, so that means that, well, it was drying quite quickly, and I think at the end of my session it was already time for slicks again. So I'm going to put those on again now. Don't know if I'll keep this engine on or if I'll put on the quick one, but yeah, all in all pretty decent. I think we were definitely the quickest out on track, even though there weren't that many seniors out there. It was still pretty decent. Even more decent when you look at these tires. There's like no rubber on there whatsoever. So yeah, pretty good. And also, when I came in, I noticed that my chain was extremely hot. So I think it's worn out. If you see how much it can if you see how much it can wiggle around, that's definitely past its best time. So I'm going to change that as well. But yeah, it slicks again for the next heat. So let's see how that goes. So the last two hits were pretty similar, that's why I'll be covering both of them in one go. I decided to just leave on the slow engine and put on the most worn tires that I had. I knew I wasn't going to be quick anymore, and I just used these sessions to build some stamina. Even though we had all of these drawbacks, I actually ended up being 1/10 of a second faster than another senior driver. And also, it was this session where I really realized that the grey engine really was not competitive anymore. Like the other senior driver had a top speed that was 10 km/h higher than me, so yeah, that's really not what you want. Anyway, these two sessions were pretty good in my opinion, and you can tell by the footage that I was feeling fairly confident. Let's do one more onboard lap before we end this day. Alright guys, so that was it for today. I did the last two sessions, well, without actually vlogging in between. That was because I was a little bit busy with changing tires, changing setup and stuff. Also, we were about a 10th quicker than the other senior on track. He's about a midfield driver. But like I said, we were on dead tires and we were using our bad engine. We had about 5 kph less top speed than him actually. Yeah guys, I'm just feeling confident going into next week. Anyway, talking about next week, that's probably what the next video is going to be. I think this week there won't be that many videos for me because I actually have to work quite a bit on the kart. And with that guys, also comes the end of this vlog. Now guys, remember, if you enjoyed this video, then please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. For you it's only a couple of clicks, but for me it literally means that I am one step closer to my goal of 100,000 subscribers one day. Actually, the first goal I have below 100,000 is 10,000, and we're actually gaining on that by a huge amount every day. We're getting like 50-60 subscribers a day, so thank you very much for that. But do remember, if you enjoyed it, hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see some more vlogs, I put a playlist on screen right now, and I definitely recommend that you guys check that out because there's some more in-depth cleaning and setup things in there. But for now, that was it. Peace.